Hey, congratulations for The Offering.
Thank
Thank you very
you.
much.
Very frightening movie. So I'm going to ask the obligatory question to each of you, but I'm going to go backwards on this one. Is what initially attracted you to this project? So I'll start with you, Oliver. What drew you to this?
Because he's a freak and he likes anything
Yeah,
horror.
I think Nick could probably just, yeah. I think Nick hit the nail on the head with that answer. He put the nail in the coffin. I've been obsessed with horror and fear for my entire life. Literature, film, games, anything I could get my hands on. And some of the oldest scary stories are Jewish. So the Jewish space within horror was always high on my list of something to explore within the horror space. And then this script came through my agents, and not only was it a Jewish horror film, and obviously I have a lot of respect for Jewish horror films. The first the first horror franchise of all time was The Golem from 1915. So talk about you're in the classic space. The film was also originally called Abizu, and Abizu is one of the oldest, most prolific demons that we're aware of in history. She crosses religions. She's the taker of children. She could, for all we know, be Lilith, the female devil herself. So when this Jewish horror script landed on my desk called Abizu, I was in before I'd even read the first page.
Wow. How about for you, Emily? I know you've done horror before, so.
Yeah. For me, it was definitely, I remember reading it, and I hadn't read a horror like this before. It had so much depth, and it was so rich with obviously culture. And I kind of felt that it almost, at its core, it was just a family drama, about love and loss and survival. And then obviously there's always the challenge of then the horror aspect, which I really enjoy at the same time. So
Great. And for you, Nick, I haven't seen you in a horror film before, so but this is a lot to lead on.
Well, I did do a horror before, and thankfully, it was so terrible that no one's ever seen it. So
Nick was great.
Yeah. So it because I don't watch horror. I'm too squeamish and too much of a wuss. So I find it a bit trickier to read the scripts because it's not a genre that I'm used to. So I kind of referred back to my manager, who was very enthusiastic about it, and said, "Look, you need to speak to Yoni, producer who created the story with Hank. We'd met years ago in LA and got on really well. And once I'd spoken to him, and then when I got on Zoom with Ollie, and you just kind of can feel the enthusiasm burning through your screen when Ollie talks about horror and about this film, that I just knew I was going to be in safe hands. And it's just exciting to do something a bit different. And it was, but a lot of it was their passion and enthusiasm that really, I felt in good hands and felt I could trust them and so on.
Can I just quickly jump in and finish that really quickly? Because to that point, I think one of the most advantageous parts of a good horror script is character and story. And I think that, fear is earned through character and those traumatic moments. So I think to get people like Nick and Em and the rest of the cast involved with a horror movie, you're in such an incredible place, because without the amazing writing and the drama of the characters and the trauma of the characters, and then bringing actors on who can really layer them and bring that level of acting to the table, a horror is always going to hit a glass ceiling. You can only go so far. But with this, we were in such a lucky place. So yeah, thanks guys.
And sorry, just to expand on that as well. I remember that in our conversations that, I didn't want to come and do some trashy, just surface level thing. The fact that Ollie and the producers seemed open to, collaboration, but also to say this is about a group of people. It's not about the scares. It's not about something that happens, but it's about this group of people in a problematic situation.
And you did I personally felt that on set every day. I was moved every day with a lot of the scenes as well, which was so unexpected for a horror.
Well, I have to commend you both, Nick and Emily, about the acting in horror, because watching this film made by Oliver here, you know, the shadows, the sound effects, the music, you know, it creates such an environment for horror. So I have no idea how you both act in horror, what you're even looking at on set for that.
DOP behind the camera.
So I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing to watch your faces. You know, your displays for horror in a film like this. What was that? Was that a challenging thing? Because you don't, when you're acting, you don't have the sound effects. You don't have that music. You know, as far as I'm concerned, the whole room is lit.
Well,
Right.
I think Em was doing the same, but you know, quite often I'll listen to music to get you in the mood, and particularly when it's for certain scenes, it's really helpful. And that's so you create your own soundtrack. And actually, because we were, you know, in most days, most of the day, and just how well the set was designed. I mean, the set designers and the art direction was brilliant. That you kind of quite quickly found yourself in this environment. And also, it's just, you know, to some degree, it's like any acting job. You have to create a world within your mind. So when you step into a room, it's got some history to it, or it's got some atmosphere to it that means something. But it really did help. I remember one of the first scenes we did. We were in the house, you know, go through the corridor in the bedroom, and just it just all the stuff you'd been imagining or preparing for it was there. So that helped a hell of a lot.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree with Nick. Music was huge. And then for me, I would probably need about half an hour prior to filming to kind of take myself away and sort of get my body physically into that feeling of fear. And then you kind of hope for the best when you're on set, that all the work is there, and that, you know, the demon that you've created or the fear that you're playing with exists in your mind. But I was really surprised actually at how technical horror is as well. Like, it's extremely technical. And so to make sure that you are executing, you know, the scares, and, you know, we had such a wonderful director, Ollie, to sort of help with that, but then also honoring the drama of the story and the circumstances, for me was really interesting to explore. So
Oliver, it seems like your actors are praising your, you know, your set design and art direction here. So they already answered all those questions. But let me ask about that demon look. How did you come up with it in the end? And did it come up after, you know, shooting?
No. So originally we were designing to give you a short version of a very long story. Originally we were designing this terrifying CGI creature, and then we had to change to practical, which I was fully in favor of because I much prefer practical. So then we had a number of weeks to design this practical creature, this 7'3" very real creature that was there on set and that we shot. And then once the movie was finished and the director's cut had passed through and we finished the edit, everything, the studio went back and said, now we're fully invested in this, have as much time, money, whatever you need to make this creature as good as the rest of the movie. And that was a compliment I never expected to get, when, you know, a studio turns around and says, you've created this movie and now we're going to inject even more money into it. We're doubling down on this one. It was such a praise to the rest of the movie we'd done, and the fact that, wait, you mean we can now take this practical, terrifying monster and we can do more with it? I never expected that, because we were so rushed for the production. COVID made everything harder, so we had no time. So yeah, we did get to work with Worldwide Effects, the same guys who did Hellboy, and we got to just work with the best people in their fields to design something that was terrifying but also layered. This creature goes way back, and, you know, the horn snapped off, creating the Sofar, and just the half ram, half humanic side of this creature, monster, demon, whatever you want to call it, Bizu. It was incredible. and it was such a nice process.
Well, then let me ask the actors, Emily first. What was it more horrifying after watching the film of this demon than you imagined?
You know what? It's what surprised me the most when I watched it was I mean, she is terrifying, but like I also kind of felt like I don't know, like I felt sorry for her at the same time. Like there's this human element to this demon as well, and you kind of understand in a way like why she's doing what she's doing, or you kind of I was kind of questioning like who was she before she was a Bizu, and what happened to her, and how was she kind of create I don't know, but
So you're sympathizing with a child killer.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I was so surprised that I was like, oh, she was so much more complex than I kind of expected. And
we did write her backstory. She has a backstory. I don't know if you knew that.
Right.
She does have a real backstory.
I think I knew that, but I didn't know it like in its, I didn't know all of it, but you can kind of feel that of her through the film when I saw it for the first time. But yeah, she's terrifying. She's scary.
What about for you, Nick?
As far as the demon being how I felt about the demon, well, the interesting thing was because like I said, I don't watch horror. The advantage is that then when you're watching the film that you've done, all how everything was made, what's coming, and so on. So it's a lot easier experience to watch, but still, Ollie and the editors and so on did such a brilliant job because I still had jumps, I still got scared at parts, and I think it was a smart move. I'm the same with Ollie, is that I think that if you can use something practical that's in the flesh, for want of a better term, I think it generally is better. I mean, it's part of the reason why I love the original Star Wars films, because they're real puppets, and then when it was CGI, it just loses something. But I think in this case, it really works because it's something that is Phantom-esque. So rather than there's lots of kind of whooshing of wind and so on, which it's not got matter, sort of deep. It's not dense kind of thing at times, so it changes. So I think it suits CGI, and also it was just such a brilliant job of it. And I think that when you compare it to what we had for practical, I think it was definitely a great decision to do that. And I concur with Ollie that it's also such a brilliant thing to hear the studio turn around and go, hold on, we're going to give you more money for this.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often.
Mm-hmm.
That is brilliant. Well, let me wrap it up with one more thing here. Nick, playing this character with the Jewish background, do you have a Jewish background, or you had to go into deep research all over this?
I'm circumcised. That's as much as I'm giving you.
This is what we got on. This is what we got on set filming for 2 months. Just so you know.
Well, that is a great answer. Well, well, thank you very much, Oliver and Nick, Emily, for this conversation, for the offering.
Pleasure.
I just keep on staring at that mirror behind Emily, thinking that something is going to jump out of that there. Thank you for not covering it. So.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.